This is why we need to stop blaming the injuries for how the Blues have been playing all season long.
Hey, this is Braden Schenn.
Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I'm your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on the show, I want to talk to you about why I am so sick of all of us making excuses and blaming the injuries. I have done it myself, but I was thinking about it today while I was in IKEA, and it just hit me out of the blue, honestly. Wait, maybe this team is just really bad and there's no fixing this solution. I'm going to also talk about why trading Robert Thomas would be a franchise altering mistake. I don't think it would be a good thing. And of course, my Friday segment, my favorite segment, Are We Feeling Blue? Where I asked you if you thought this was a good week or a bad week for our team. I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I hope every single one of you is having a good day today. It is Friday, January 16th. I know the Blues are playing. They had that 2-goal lead, and then, well, we all know what happens. This team blows leads all the time. But my focus on today's episode, and we'll get into the game on Monday, it is about maybe we're making too many excuses for the Blues because of injuries. And this all kind of stemmed from my episode I did the other day on RT18 being out for the next couple weeks at least. And I think all season, in the back of my head, I've said, well, we're dealing with this injury, we're dealing with that injury, we're dealing blah, blah, blah. No more excuses. There's plenty of teams in the NHL that have a lot of injured players who don't make excuses and who actually play well. I think for the Blues, the main problem this season, and I think we can all agree on this, is inconsistency in the lineup due to just different guys being out and rotating back in once they're healthy again. However, the reason why I think I'm so passionate about the fact that we can't blame injuries is because none of our goalies were injured this season. And I know that this is the usual cop-out excuse, the goalies. You can't put all the pressure on the goalies. Okay? But they need to take some responsibility. Now, I know Hof's, I believe he's posting over 900 for the season, and Binnington's at like 6-something, so it's not good. But I think that there is a sense of blame when it comes to the goalies when they've been the only consistent, well, it's only 2 players, but guys on the team that haven't dealt with any injuries. And I know that's unfair. And then we look at the defense. Well, the defense really hasn't suffered, okay? It's truly been the offense. I know that Broberg, he was out for a little bit, but still, I mean, the defense as a whole, if you look at it and you break it down, it's not a very good defense in the NHL. They leave so much space open. They need to close that space up, and they're not doing that. I mean, I find it really amazing that Colton Parayko is in the Olympics. I do. I like Parayko. I wish nothing but the best for Colton Parayko. But do I think he's one of the best defensemen that is Canadian in the league this season? And the answer is no. I think some of the decisions for the Olympics were kind of based on the bigger picture of the player's career. But in that case, it just makes me even more frustrated about my guy, Robert Thomas. But he hasn't had a good season, so I can't defend that. I think there comes to a point, though, where we need to look at the injuries. And as I mentioned, a lot of the injuries did occur with the offensive players. So for the forwards and them not maybe scoring as much, okay, you know what? That's a fair argument. And I can't disagree with that. But as far as the defense goes, I can't sit here and say, well, it's the injuries. Most of the defense has been healthy. And that's the issue. And that's why my frustration just is at a boiling point because, again, the goalie's healthy. Most of the defense healthy. The forwards, not so healthy. But here's the thing. If you manage to get a couple goals in, then your defense and your goalies should be able to help you out a little bit more than they are. But then you also have to think about who most of the blame falls on to. And do you look at a guy like Coach Montgomery and say, you know what? This isn't working. You need to switch up the defensive pairs like I've been pleading him to do forever now. Do you look at even the goalies, and maybe not so much Joel Hofer as he's been playing a lot better, but you look at Jordan Binnington. Hey, you're going to have to play after you were in net for a loss. I'm so sick of protecting these players. I understand that this isn't a playoff team, and I hate it, but I understand it. And for your starting goalie, who, by the way, is the starting goalie for Team Canada, isn't even playing after his team loses, that's showing me weakness. That is showing me the opposite of what it's like to wear the blue note. I'm frustrated. You're frustrated. We're all frustrated because there's always excuses and there's always these reasons as to why the Blues aren't finding success. Maybe the true reason, maybe the true answer just comes down to one simple thing. This isn't a good team. And I know that we've said that all season, that this isn't a good team. But is it because they don't have as many goals? Like, I don't understand how we can blame injury, but not acknowledge the fact that the defense hasn't been injured as much. And that's why I get ticked off. Because I cannot wait for Adam Juracek to come up here and to really play tough defense. He's a great two-way defenseman, but he's a true defenseman. And that's what this team needs to see. They need to see what it's like to have a true two-way defenseman. I think that Philip Broberg's been playing really good two ways, but he's definitely more forward than he is as good as a defenseman, and just in my opinion, okay? But Juracek, man, he is something special. But we can't just wait on that. We can't just assume, well, once Adam Juracek's here, it's all going to be fine. No, it's not going to be fine. Do you really want to have a Blues defense that consists of Tyler Tucker, Matthew Kessel, Logan Mayo? I mean, I'm assuming Cam Fowler won't be here for much longer, and Justin Folk might be traded. The point is that this isn't a strong defense. The defensive core is not at all what it should have been. And that's why this past offseason, I said, because I remember so vividly, I did so many episodes on this very topic. Your number one goal this offseason is to improve the defense. I think they honestly made it worse by getting Logan Mayo. I'm not trying to be a hater. I sound very negative when it comes to young Logan, but at the same time, he isn't what the Blues needed to improve defensively. Now, he might surprise us all, and hey, if that's the case, then props to Logan. I'll be happy, as I did mention on yesterday's episode. But right now, as I'm looking at it, I can't help but face the reality that nothing's going to get done. And I hope Alexander Steen, when Steiner takes over, he gets what needs to be done. Okay? I said done too many times, but it needs to get done. He needs to take an initiative. I know that's very hard after the GM who's been here for 15 years, but this is a team that has really good young players offensively and Philip Broberg defensively. This is a team that if you just tweak some things around, mostly defense, it could be a playoff contending team. But you're not going to get that with the way that defense has been struggling and with the way that Jordan Binnington has been struggling. And I am actually curious as to why he's not playing these games. I wish that there was more of a concrete answer. I wish that we knew exactly what the reasoning is. Is it because they're trying to rest him for the Olympics? Or is there a deeper issue? Is this a mental thing? Like, I just want to know, because I am always defending Jordan Binnington. Always. Binner the winner. I really can't express how special that guy is to me, because he is the reason truly that we won the Stanley Cup. And it just sucks, honestly, that we're in a position now where there's the potential that he might be traded because of how the season's been going. The reality sucks. But you know what? I feel really good about Joel Hofer, and he has stepped up tremendously. But going back to my initial point, I think that the injuries and the excuses that we make, there's no truth behind it. You can't justify it. It's an excuse. But the reality is, you can't defend the defense because only Philip Broberg had a little bit of an injury. So, yay, positive today. I told you I was going to be positive-ish and big on the ish. All right, coming up, I want to talk to you about why it would be a franchise-altering mistake if you traded away my guy, Robert Thomas. I'm telling you, it would be right after this. There's nothing like being near the ice during hockey season. The speed, the hits, the atmosphere, it's unmatched. Watching at home is great, but being in the building is a completely different experience. The only thing that used to get in the way was getting tickets. Long queues, endless screens, and prices changing at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NHL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. I personally love the Game Time app because I can see exactly where I'm going to be sitting because of the amazing seat view feature that Game Time has. So there's no surprises when I do get to my seat. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. I want to talk to you about something really cool that this podcast, Locked On Blues, is a part of. Because right now with the Locked On Podcast Network, we have the Everydayer Club. What's the Everydayer Club? I will tell you what the Everydayer Club is because it's going to benefit you. For only $5 a month, you get to listen to Locked On Blues or watch Locked On Blues with no ads. It is ad-free completely for only $5. And on top of that, you're invited to a Discord, which is so much better than X. And you get to talk with everybody. Yeah, everybody who's in the network. You get to talk about football, basketball, obviously hockey, baseball, and so much more. So if you want a whole community of people to talk to, and personally, I think it's pretty cool. I'm having a lot of fun. And you don't want any ads, make sure to join the Everydayer Club. It's going to be linked down below. Just one simple click. You search up Locked On Blues, and there you have it. You get, honestly, something that's very unique and a steal because it's only $5 a month. Would trading Robert Thomas be a franchise-altering mistake? This is the question I proposed a little bit earlier, and my answer is yes. You might be saying to yourself, Haley, he's not having the best season. He's out right now. You know, he dealt with injury last season. Maybe this isn't the guy we thought he was going to be. Okay. So if you don't think Robert Thomas is the guy, who is your 1C? Is it Dvorsky? And if that's the case, do you think that the way that he played the other night against Carolina is going to continue on? I am rooting for Dvorsky. I am a huge fan of him. I wanted him to make the team out of camp. But here's the reality. Dvorsky would benefit from having a veteran player to teach him the ways. And I get what you're also thinking. Well, if Robert Thomas isn't playing well, why would Dvorsky benefit from learning from him? because Robert Thomas is still a great hockey player. He is. Maybe he doesn't shoot the puck enough. He definitely doesn't shoot the puck enough. He does things that are incredibly frustrating. I agree. And I am not in any single way taking that point away from you. I'm not. But I think sometimes his selflessness also translates to astonishing things. Some of the passes that he makes, how he's able to, and in my opinion, create space on the ice. I mean, he has such good puck possession. And more than that, his stick handling skills are excellent. He has the physicality it takes to be a 1C. I think that it's really premature for us to assume that Robert Thomas is not the right fit. He's going to be here for a while with his contract, but more so than that, he's the next man up to wear a C. And I know a lot of people have said Jake Neighbors, but the thing I noticed about this organization, right? When Schenner got the opportunity to wear the C, would you say that Braden Schenn was the best player on the team? Probably not. But he's been here. And there's something about him truly that resonates of what it's like to be a Blue. He gets the city. I mean, this is the definition of what your captain should be. Your captain doesn't always need to be the best player. Now, I think that they should still be a very good and prominent player on the team, but I don't necessarily think they have to be the best. I think a captain is the person that shows up day in and day out and leads the team no matter what. And I have seen Braden Schenn do that despite how bad this season has been. But I think Robert Thomas has those qualities too. And if you trade Robert Thomas, what is your goal and expectation as to what you get back? Because I can tell you this, if it's prospects, yeah, the Blues are cooked. Because there's no replacing this skill set that he has. And there's no other player, in my opinion, that I feel like could come onto this team and be a better 1C. I think that we have seen 2 back-to-back 80-point seasons from RT18. And this season, I know that he's not on trajectory to get there, and he's probably not. But again, I still think he's a lot better than what the stats are showing for him this season. And I think the Blues would take a huge setback in getting rid of Robert Thomas. Because when you think about the Blues' core and you think about the future, you have to include RT18 in there. You do. I feel like a lot of the negativity that people talked about when it came to Jordan Kyrou shifted over to Robert Thomas, because I feel like this is the same kind of conversation that we had last year. And I think that we're looking for someone to blame. I think that we're frustrated, we're annoyed, and we're looking for the scapegoat. And right now, I mean, it's your 1C who hasn't been performing well and out numerous times this season with injury. I'm just saying the facts. And it makes sense for you to feel that way. And I'm not in any single way telling you what you're feeling right now is wrong. But I think that the bigger picture is, let's go look 2 years down the road from now. Would the Blues regret trading Robert Thomas? And I think they would. I think once you get a better defense and this team is just playing much better hockey, you're going to see why Robert Thomas is the 1C and why he is the future of this franchise in terms of leadership. I think that he is too good of a player to get rid of after one season. And the season isn't even done yet. This is a lot different than goalies, because goalies, it's very mental. For Robert Thomas, I mean, I'm sure it's mental too, but sometimes players just don't have the best season. And I guess I sound like a hypocrite because I could be saying the same thing about Jordan Binnington right now. But as I said, goalies, it's more mental. And I can't put that into words necessarily, which sucks as this is a podcast. But I guess what I'm trying to say is goalies have a difficult job, right? But so does your 1C. So does the guy that you really count on when it comes to the power play. I mean, PK. I mean, everything. You think of Robert Thomas. And I think that this season, it's just too much bad surrounding him. But again, there's no excuses, and I'm not making an excuse. I think that if you trade him, though, that is going to be an issue. And I think two things can be true, if that makes sense. Coming up next, we're going to talk about my favorite Friday segment. It is called Are We Feeling Blue? But first, I want to talk to you. And then when I come back, we'll get right into this conversation. The wildcard round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts. You can apply the bets you like most. And on top of that, that boost, it gives you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. And besides, every play feels so much bigger. You make the picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed's sponsored jobs. Hiring Indeed, it's all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page, and it helps you reach the right candidates faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a higher than non-sponsored jobs. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results. Use Indeed's sponsored jobs. Listener of this show, get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/locked-on. Just go to Indeed.com/locked-on right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. It's my favorite Friday segment, Are We Feeling Blue?, where we discuss if this was a good week or a bad week. I do want to go to Twitter at Locked On Blues, which you can follow, because I asked you all a question. It's a very simple question, but I said, how do you feel about Robert Thomas being out for at least 2 weeks? We have 81% saying the team's already down bad, while 19% says it will hurt the Blues. We have Locked On Cardinals. So JD, hello to you. I know JD is a part of the Everydayer Club. We all love the Everydayer Club. Again, $5, link down below. But he said, I'm eager to see who steps up in his place. Looks good without him versus Carolina. Need to reciprocate that energy each game, and that's why they've had issues, in my humble opinion. Let's go Blues. Somebody said, neither. I will go see. This helps us secure a good draft pick. That's all that matters this season, and that was from Thomas. And then we have Blake, who says, amazing. And then Kev Bleeds Blue says, why is there only 2 choices? Well, there's only 2 choices because I can't put, yay, I'm happy about Robert Thomas being injured. I mean, that would sound psycho. And we're not that kind of people. We're not that kind of fan base. I love that we're the kind of fan base, honestly, that hates to see injuries and truly cares about our players' well-being. We can't say the same about other fan bases, though. I did ask you on YouTube a little bit of a different question. So again, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Free to do down below. How do you feel about Robert Thomas being out for at least 2 weeks? Answer 1 with 23%. It will hurt the Blues significantly. Then we have answer 2 at 35%. The team is already too damaged for it to matter. And then we have 42% saying it's a good time for Thomas to reset and come back stronger. We also have a lot of good answers. We have Brandon who said, I think the Blues played a good game without him. I hate to say it, but maybe he might be one of the players that causes his team not to play with heart. Only time will tell. We have Red who says the Blues have been so bad that I doubt it will make much of a difference this season. We have Andrew who says we need to trade Thomas and Kyrou. They're good players, but just not right for this team. Finally, we have Army, and Army says Thomas hasn't lived up to the hype of being a good center. I think Dvorsky is the better player, and soon he will prove it. So we have a lot of mixed responses on that question. That leads me into, are we feeling blue? Was this a good week or a bad week? And I have to say this was a okay-ish week. I am not going to lie to you. I feel very conflicted because the Blues had a really nice shutout 3-0 win with Joel Hofer in net versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Dvorsky looked great. It was great to see Nick Bukestad back on the ice again. Snuggy played well. Stenberg played well. And I have to give them credit. I'm conflicted because I am upset about RT18. I'm annoyed about the Logan Mayu extension. So that's why I'm going to say it was an okay week. Now, this is a lot better of an answer than we usually get here on the podcast because most of the time I say that it's a bad week. But for the first time, it's an okay-ish week. I love to hear what you have to say because I think that at the end of the day, it is very conflicting, the emotions that we're feeling. We're disappointed, we're angry, but we're optimistic about the young talent. And I think that's a really exciting place to be when it comes to the young talent, is to have that excitement because truly, and I mean this, I can't wait to see guys like Dvorsky, Snuggerud, Otto Stenberg, heck, even when he's ready, Adam Juracek, Justin Carbonneau, take over this team. I'm excited for it. But at the same time, there has to be another chapter, right? Like, this can't be the end. And that's why, for me, I struggle. All right, I do want to remind you again, I'm going to put the link right here on the video so you can see it. Make sure to check out, again, that Everydayer Club, $5 a month, no ads, and you get a Discord. I mean, what more could you ask for? Besides that, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It is free to do. On the screen, you're going to see tons of videos popping up. Maybe click on one and see what that conversation is like. I will talk to you on Monday. And like always, let's go Blues.